It's another edition of the Brett Allen Show. Thanks for watching and listening and being a part of today's conversation. We are talking with the amazingly talented Samantha Bartow about Long Slow Exhale. We've had a few other cast members on from this fantastic show. And I tell you, this is just a lot of fun. It's a great show, and you all just do an amazing job. Thank you so much for your time today. It's a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much.
Well, this show is a fantastic series and it covers a lot of different topics. And of course, the backdrop to this is basketball. But there's a lot more going on in this story than meets the eye. And as you continue to watch these episodes unfold, as you're nodding yes, and people have a chance to watch this, it goes much deeper than that. Let's talk about your character and sort of what viewers can expect from your perspective and your involvement in the project.
So it's funny you mentioned that it is about basketball, but then it kind of becomes not about basketball. Because whenever people ask me what the show is about, that's exactly what I say. I say, well, it's sort of about a basketball team, but so many things unravel from that. So that's kind of more of the setting. But I would say, as far as my character, I think that it's a story of a young woman who is just down and out and just kind of has not the best luck and has a very traumatic experience that sort of unravels before her eyes and is kind of a domino effect on the rest of her life.
Yeah, I think that's a really accurate description, and I think although I mean there are parts of this that are I'm assuming I think are probably really based on either true events or events that have happened in young women's lives and really just in this whole idea of professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
That is true, because I think oftentimes decisions that we make, even our mindset is not okay, it could definitely domino effect into a lot of different things. And I really think that you do a fantastic job of portraying that story and also really making it, very authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Um, of course, yeah. And I think as I watch this and have seen episodes as this whole story unfolds, it's very fascinating. Because I think it's also an important message. I was talking with one of the stars yesterday, Jordan Kane, about this and his perspective on the fact that really it's exposing a message that I think people need to be aware of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because really, although we're portraying fiction here, it's also probably not too far off, from things that are happening in the sport and with people involved. You know what I mean? If that makes any
Absolutely.
sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in any male dominated arena, for lack of a better term, I think that that is something that is prevalent. And unfortunately, it is just generally a prevalent issue that unfortunately women run into. But absolutely, it's a story that needs to be told. And while it is a fictional, um, story and series, I think it is definitely rooted in reality.
For sure. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning, the show covers a lot of important topics, but on a very visceral level, what are you hoping the viewers walk away with when they have an opportunity to watch? Whether it's from your character and the choices that she has made and sort of what the consequences can look like, or
Yeah.
just generally speaking.
Yeah. I, as far as my character goes, I hope that women who have experienced a similar hardship can feel less alone, and maybe can find the courage to speak up and stick up for themselves. And I know that it's just such a traumatic and horrific thing to go through, but if you do speak up and ask for help, I know that it can get better. So I would hope for that. I also think I would like people to walk away with the understanding that, first of all, you never know what somebody is going through,
Yeah.
and things aren't always as they seem. So take everything with a grain of salt, but especially based off of first impressions. Shannon is a very kind of complex and seemingly cold, and on the court, kind of this emotionless sort of hard ass. But in reality, she's human like the rest of us, and I think she's actually a very vulnerable and an emotional person. So I think, yeah, people kind of having an empathy, just leading with empathy, I think is a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, I think in any relationship that you have in life, really, even as a dad, I'm thinking, in dealing with my child, it's like you have to lead with empathy and you have to lead
Hmm.
with understanding because again, like you said, you don't know what somebody's dealing with, what they're going through.
Hmm.
And we sort of watch that unfold. You've been a part of some really great projects. Of course, Long Slow Exhale being the most current, which, by the way, I need to mention it is a Spectrum original. So you can watch this as it airs regularly, or we had a new episode come out yesterday, I think, or the day before, and then it's available to stream the next day. But when did you know that you wanted to be a storyteller, Samantha? When did acting become interesting to you and kind of made you think about something that you might want to do?
So I feel like I've known since I was a really little kid, but I never knew that it was a possibility. I did musical theater as a very, very young child. And I also come from a very Irish family. So storytelling has just, it's kind of in my blood and it's been ingrained into me. I was taught like Irish folk songs and Irish tales since I was a little kid. And my sister and I at family functions would always kind of get pushed in front of the crowd, and our parents would just be like, "Tell a story."
I love
So
it.
yeah, I think at a young age, it was just part of my DNA and who I was. And then in high school, I was in journalism. I was on the newspaper. And that's when I really realized, oh my goodness, I think I have a knack for this. I love storytelling. And at that time, I kind of thought, oh, well, even though I would rather be in movies, journalism is kind of more of a concrete career path. And then I went to school for it and I realized it's not necessarily a stable job either. So I
No.
was, I kind of realized, okay, well, might as well just do what I love. And I auditioned for a bunch of schools. I left that school, auditioned for a bunch of schools, and I got into California Institute of the Arts. And I visited, and I just completely fell in love. And it's definitely been a journey. And I think at first I had a love hate relationship with it, because it's just very vulnerable. But now I'm just totally in love with it. And yeah, I feel so grateful to be able to do it.
Yeah, what a fun job to have,
Hmm.
to play make believe and create these amazing characters and tell stories. It's what I find about what you do so fascinating because it's so different, I think, than what most people are familiar with, like a normal 8 to 5 job. And as much as I talk to folks like yourself and have these conversations, it's still very fascinating to me just about to talk to you in person like this and really get to know Samantha, versus what we might see as a character that you're portraying on television. And that you're nothing like that. Although there might be small connections, maybe the positive things, but it's still great. So obviously, you mentioned this job is very different. It's kind of a love-hate relationship sometimes because there could be big breaks, but and then you could wait a while before you get something. What do you do to keep the creative juices flowing, Samantha, when you're not filming something? Is there a hobby that you have or something that you enjoy as an offlet for your creativity?
That's a great question, and definitely something that I have found on my journey that is completely vital and necessary for longevity and for staying in the game. I remember when I in theater school, we had a bunch of teachers tell us, if there's anything else you can do it.
Yeah, I've
This
heard that a
is,
lot.
yeah, this is not for the faint of heart. And this is, they just encouraged us that if this feels like it's the only thing that you can do, then do it. And that's how I feel. I've really considered so many other paths, but nothing feels quite right, and nothing feels like my brain is fit for it better than acting. But I will say, I'm also a singer songwriter, and that is definitely my haven, my safe space when I'm in a lull, or the acting grind can definitely put me into some dark places sometimes. So if I am feeling super distraught, I just go to, you know, my guitar or my ukulele and just I call it my journaling time. So that's definitely kind of how I keep the creativity flowing and maintain that love for storytelling.
Yes, you have a very fascinating background. It looks like you're like at a campsite or out in a really beautiful area. I'm
Pretty
s- very,
much.
I'm very distracted by that. That's nice. I'm sorry. I was just looking at it's like a cabin.
No. Yeah, I'm at a
Uh,
cabin. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you. If you're on a vacation or a break,
Oh, no
thanks for hanging out with
worries.
us. Long Slow Exhale, a Spectrum original, streaming now. We've got a few episodes so far. This is a great show, a show that has an important message. And really, Samantha, you do a fun and a great job in this. It's fun just to kind of watch you create and put this character together. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.